I give you anything?
Welcome everyone.
Again?
Select committee meeting.
I can see my.
He can do that, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Told me she was gonna run.
Mayor Oglesby, Seaside. Mayor Rios, Gonzales.
Here.
She's on.
Mayor Williamson, Monterey.
Here.
Mayor Donohue,
Public
Salinas.
service, I put my hat to
Mayor
all you guys.
Velazquez, Soledad.
Here.
Mayor Delgado, Marina.
Here.
Mayor Byrne, Carmel. Mayor Donaldson, Rios.
Here.
Mayor Smith, Pacific Grove.
Here.
Mayor LeBarre, King City.
Present.
Mayor Carbone, Sun City. Present.
All right, thank you very much. Additional
Sheriff,
corrections?
if I could, over here. The Carmel mayor is on his way. He was at a meeting at the county board of supervisors, so I know he's on his way. He
Okay.
should be showing up shortly.
Okay. Thank you, Scott. All right, any additional corrections?
There are none.
All right. General public comment. This section is for public comments on items not on the agenda. Do we have any public comment?
I'll go.
For items not on the agenda today.
Yes, sir. Excellent. Hello, my name is Wes White, Salinas, Monterey County Homeless Union. I'm also part of the Lived Experience Advisory Director with the Continuum of Care. Also NAACP Political Action Chair. Also do a YouTube channel, John Doe 13K. I enjoy all jurisdictional meetings to be recorded and published, and I guess that's one reason I'm here today. You may have received a letter from me earlier in the month, I just want to ask for this group to be recorded and published, every month. So I don't know how you can do that, but please, otherwise I guess you'll be seeing me here every month.
All right, thank you very much. Anyone else? All right, then we'll move to committee matters. Review and approve draft CSC meeting minutes of January 3rd, 2025. Do we have any other comments on minutes? Thank none. I'll entertain a motion on those.
So moved.
Second that. Moved and seconded. All in favor? I'm sorry. Let's go ahead and take a roll call vote, please.
Mayor Oglesby.
Aye.
Mayor White.
Aye.
Mayor Williamson.
Yes.
Mayor Donohue.
Yes.
Mayor Delgado.
Yes.
Mayor Donaldson.
Aye.
Mayor LeBarre.
Aye.
Mayor Carbone. Aye. Mayor Rios.
Aye.
Mayor Velazquez. Aye. Mayor Byrne.
Aye.
And Mayor Smith.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you very much. Consider appointee due to termination, expiration, vacancy, and other action related. Salinas Valley Groundwater Basin Agency Board of Directors, we need a primary and we need an alternate. We'll go ahead and open up public comments on this item.
So I'll make a quick one, Sheriff.
Sure.
And I want to let Mayor Velazquez know, yes, I was incorrect the last meeting. I thought it was just for city managers. So the understanding is our cities, this is a weird setup. Our cities still have to come back and make the appointments. We originally set up a rotational basis, Greenfield is a zone GSA. So it started off with Soledad as the primary, King City was the alternate, King City moved to alternate, Gonzales was, King City moved to the primary, Gonzales became the alternate. And so if we stay with the rotation, Gonzales would stay as become the primary and would call back to Soledad as the alternate position. And then I guess our cities have to make a council level decision who they're going to appoint for it.
Okay, so we come back to the cities.
Yeah, so it would be, the city of Gonzales would appoint a primary member. The city of Soledad would promote the alternate for the next cycle. And I'm totally cool with that.
Gonzales, you're good?
Yes.
So I'll make that as a motion.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
I'll second. It has to be one of those.
Yeah, it has to be-
Sorry, oh, I forgot. I forgot.
So we're
This side here. Okay, sorry.
Cities.
I'll second that. So who gets the vote?
That way.
Just as three
Cities. No, because Greenfield's not part of the.
No, we are not. I'm going to leave the vote. So,
I'll-
I will call for a roll call vote on each, please.
Mayor Rios,
Yes.
Mayor Velazquez,
Yes.
and Mayor LeBarre.
Aye.
All right, we'll go to 2.1, rescind the action taken on January 3rd, 2025, to early appoint Mayor Donohue for LAFCO commission. Review of the annual appointments, as LAFCO did not hold any meetings in January. I will open this up for public comment. All right, I will bring it back to, I'm sorry, we do have public comment.
Yes, I'm sorry, I just arrived, so I'm not sure if I'm supposed to speak to you, but my name is Karen Paul, for those of you who don't know me. I live in Pacific Grove, and I'm a member of the board of the Monterey Peninsula Water Management District, and I'm here to encourage you to choose Ana Velazquez as a LAFCO member. I watched her during when the LAFCO considered the water district's application a couple of years back.
Sorry, Karen, just
I
a
was
point
gonna
of
say,
clarification.
Can we get you to bring that up on the next item? This is actually the rescinding of this, a different one, so you will be
Okay.
coming up next.
Okay, I'm sorry. All right.
Thank you very much. All right, do you have any discussion on this item?
Oh, why is it necessary?
Just to clean up a complaint that we had, I believe.
So did we make a mistake at our last meeting? What are we cleaning up?
Yeah, we had a complaint filed, and we're trying to clear the complaint and make sure that this is the most conservative route to give us a clear.
What was the substance of the complaint?
That it was not properly agendized, I believe.
So we took a vote that wasn't agendized.
That's the,
Yeah,
through the chair, that's the
that was
complaint.
and this is just to kind of clear that up so that we're free and clear on this item.
Thank you, Chair.
All right. Entertain a motion on this item, if there's no
So
further
moved.
discussion.
Seconded.
Second?
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. I need a roll call vote, please.
Mayor Oglesby,
Aye.
Mayor White,
Aye.
Mayor Williamson,
Yes.
Mayor Donohue,
Yes.
Mayor Delgado,
Yes.
Mayor Donaldson,
Yes.
Mayor LeBarre,
Aye.
Mayor Carbone,
Yes.
Mayor Rios,
Yes.
Mayor Velazquez, Mayor Byrne,
Yes.
and Mayor Smith.
Yes.
All right, thank you very much. We'll move to item 3.1, Mayor, Council Members to the Subject Commission to adjourn ending May 2nd, 2027. I'll open this one up for public comment. Item 3.
Oh. Okay, so, as I said a moment ago, I'm here to encourage you to appoint Ana Velazquez to serve on LAFCO. I watched her when she was serving as an alternate, when LAFCO considered the Water Management District's applications in connection with the public acquisition of the Cal-Am's Monterey water system. And she did an outstanding job. She did an exemplary job. She understood the legal requirements for the way LAFCO commissioners are supposed to make their decisions, and she had done the work. She had done her homework. She had done the work of familiarizing herself with the record, and it was a very substantial record, so it required a fair amount of work, I think, to become familiar with the issues. And the reason I am able to say this is I was familiar with the record. I was very familiar since the district had put in a substantial portion of the record, and I was familiar with all of that. as well as the substantial amount of work that the LAFCO staff prepared for the commissioners, which was work that was really well done. But again, it required some time to digest it. And it was apparent to me from the discussion and among the commissioners and the way they made their decision that many of them really did not know the record and didn't appear to understand how they were supposed to make their decision and taking into account the interests of the entire county of Monterey and not just some specific piece of it. And Ana Velazquez tried to tell them that. Had they listened to her, they would have probably made a valid decision and not be reversed by the Superior Court.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Do we have anybody else?
Yes.
My name is Laura Davis. I'm the Deputy Director of Landwatch Monterey County, and I will be providing comments on Landwatch's. Landwatch supports the election of Soledad Mayor Ana Velazquez to LAFCO. We think she stands out as a superior choice for the following reasons. First, she has the necessary experience to be an effective participant and leader on LAFCO. She's been an alternate for several years, so she knows how things work, what to expect, and how to get things done. Second, she provides important representation for South County and the Latino community, giving voice to county residents that might otherwise go unheard. Third, Mayor Velazquez will balance the needs of the Salinas Valley and the Monterey Peninsula equitably. She understands both interests very well, and she approaches issues in a way that is fair-minded. Lastly, Mayor Velazquez is a thoughtful listener with a track record of working collaboratively to accomplish what is best for the community at large. For these reasons, Mayor Velazquez will make an excellent addition to LAFCO, and we encourage you to vote to appoint her. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
Honorable Mayors, my name is Jeff Davey, and in my 35, 40 years of political life on this county, I've been to 2 of these committee meetings because there hasn't been any reason to need to go. You guys do a great job. You guys represent your cities well. And I don't really know why I'm here today, except to say you are getting into a situation that I consider to be really just ridiculous. There is an effort on the Monterey Peninsula to have an agenda carried out by a group called Public Water Now that they need a certain person to vote a certain way at LAFCO, and that's why they're pushing this. And they are pushing so hard to have someone appointed that will carry that water through LAFCO. And it shouldn't be about that. It should be who's the right person to represent the community, the largest mayor of the largest city, the largest number of people. Geographically, you've got plenty of South County representation. No slight to the mayor of Soledad. I'm sure she's wonderful, but it's not necessary. And more important, the Public Water Now people are telling people that they were elected to get the buyout of CalAb as a mandate. And it was a feasibility study to buy out CalAb. It wasn't to buy out CalAb, the feasibility. And guess what, folks? It's not feasible, so it's not a good idea. And that's what they're saying was the mandate. That's like me saying in 1999 when I ran an election, advisory election, to disband the water district, and it won 66% of the vote, that the water district should be disbanded. It doesn't work that way. See, politics don't work that way. You have to go to the legislature, and they have to do it afterwards. So that didn't happen. We still have the district. So they're making these statements like it's a mandate, and it's not. So don't get caught up in the water fights of the peninsula. This is a LAFCO appointment. Do the right thing. Put the person that needs to represent the largest city on this board, and just don't get caught up in the water wars of the peninsula. We spent 30, 40, 50 years making a mess of it ourselves. We don't need help.
Thank you very much.
Hi, thank you. My name's John Till. I live in the peninsula, presently in Pacific Grove. Great respect for Ana Velazquez as a mayor and as a community leader. However, in this instance, it's not appropriate for Mayor Velazquez to be representing the Salinas Valley when Salinas itself is the largest city and needs that representation. Salinas is really a crux of the water situation here in the region, in the county. But we all know that with the Groundwater Sustainability Act in place, there's no room for water to move from Salinas to Monterey, and that really is what Public Water Now is trying to do. I am a ratepayer on the peninsula of the Monterey Peninsula Water Management District, And if they would just completely stop with the charade of Measure J and get along with providing water for the people in the community, that would be the best thing that they could possibly do. Jeff mentioned 30 to 40 years of this going on. How about 30 or 40 million of dollars about to be wasted by the water district? They should not be involved in lawsuits. They should be involved in putting water in place. As a person who lives in Pacific Grove, I would like for my vote to be Dennis Donohue to be on this, be on the LAFCO board for a lot of reasons. Measure J was to have been a feasibility study. It is nothing but a charade. The district does not have the water. They're completely often told M1W does not have the source water. Jeff and I have been saying that for years at M1W and in meetings like this. To continue to use LAFCO as a tool for the pursuits of public water now is inappropriate. For the water district to be so involved in lawsuits and trying to take over the Cal-Am is inappropriate. The water supply charge that they collected from me and other people that has amounted to millions of dollars per year, $30 million in total, that has been told by Superior Court they should not have been able to collect in the first place, is a sign of how inept they are at getting things done when it comes to water. Very good at collecting water, very good at lawsuits. We need more than that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chris Steinbrenner, local Salinas, lifelong resident, business owner, landowner, wannabe part-time, sometimes farmer. So there's a lot of talk here about water, and there seems to be a theme here that this is about water. Well, I tell you what, it's not. It's about Salinas and the Salinas Valley. It's about valley representation. The valley mayors have spoken last month. You know what they want to do. Make no mistake, this is about Salinas and the Salinas Valley. I don't care about the water situation at the moment. The peninsula wants to wade into valley business. Be warned, this will set the tone for relations and cooperation for the next few years. I guarantee that. Please consider the implications and consequences of this power move. This is about Salinas, the Salinas Valley, valley representation. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hi, Wes White. Gosh, I do a homeless union, I also do a YouTube channel. I wanted to speak up for Anna Velazquez as a choice. You know, I guess I wanted to talk about Cal-Am and Measure J a lot because, man, I'm feeling a lot of disinformation because Cal-Am, 85% of all public water utilities are public. 15% are private. In fact, Cal-Am has been tried to be ousted a few times. Of course, it's money. So that's the kind of choices it sounds like you're going to make. It's just about business, but it needs to be about public benefit. And that's where I think we're going to have a disjointed opinion about things. So Cal-Am is definitely a beast. Measure J passed. Measure O failed, but it's been 4 times at least, you know, of a buyout. Because of the cost, Cal-Am is actually the most expensive, and all the money goes to New Jersey, so it doesn't even stay local. And there is a buyout currently, and of course feasibility is the first part of that. They're fighting tooth and nail. They want to try to pretend to do desal. They're stealing Marina's water, and it's just ridiculous the way that we're kind of not really dealing with that if you want to talk about water. Salinas is going to choke it out and make sure only north or south, you know, the way the water goes upriver. I don't even think much is going to go beyond that. We already got saltwater intrusion. I guess I'm stuck on water even though this is about LAFCO. But man, Cal-Am is definitely a beast that needs to go down. And if you're supporting it, then you're more interested in business. Maybe you even got a contract in there somewhere. But it's not about public benefit if you're going to be defending Cal-Am.
Thank you very much. Any other comments?
I'll speak. Anchor Fano on behalf of the Salinas Valley and many of the Salinas Valley business owners here in support of Mayor Donohue. We think it's very important that Salinas be represented on LAFCO, and the Salinas Valley, all mayors except for one who has a reason not to vote, is in favor of Mayor Donohue. And I would just encourage the peninsula to stay out of Salinas politics the best you can. It's important for the Salinas Valley and our business owners to support Dennis Donohue. And I don't want to reiterate too much what Mr. Steinbruner said, but we don't want to get into a political fight with everybody and start raising money to try and unseat people that want to meddle in Salinas politics. But please support Mayor Donohue.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the mayors and open it up for discussion.
How long has Salinas held this seat? And is it supposed to go to the biggest city? What are the criteria for us to decide? But how long has Salinas held this seat as a voting member? And is the biggest city a criterion that we're supposed to use, the size of the city?
Is Jonathan here? Jonathan Griffin? Do you know his question? Because I don't clerk that committee.
Based on our information, it's been since 2016 that Salinas has held the regular seat.
And then the second question is a criterion for who gets this seat, how big the city is, or what are the criteria?
Jonathan?
So LAFCO's bylaws and the state law that governs LAFCO's do not specify anything saying that one city in Monterey County holds a seat on LAFCO. It's just appointed by the city selection committee.
Are there any criteria by which we're supposed to use to make this decision?
I'll quote the state law. It says that the city selection committee is encouraged to appoint members to fairly represent the diversity of the cities in the county with respect to population and geography.
Salinas.
Any other questions? Any other discussion?
So I'll make a comment. It is, for as long as I've been at this table with all of you, I've always found us to find balance. And that is something I think is very important. And I do, and I wish LAFCO would be able to amend their bylaws to like one for the peninsula, one for the South County, including the Salinas, that one, like some of our other ones. That would make this issue so much easier. But we do have balance because it has generally been this, right? Peninsula has a representation, we've had our representation, and I think that works well for all of us. You know, 3 of the 4 South County cities have asked that it be the Salinas city to be the rep. And we feel good about that. And I would hope that the other mayors would understand that it would be basically the peninsula saying what we think is good geographical and balance for populations and diversity is not good enough. And we have never treated you that way. And we actually, as long as I've been on this, I've felt that we've all worked together for what's best for our communities. This is land use policy, and having balance is probably the best way that we could ensure that all of our cities have a voice, and that the land use policy developed by LAFCO is fair for all of us. Because the peninsula, you have different needs than we do in South County. And between those 2 voices, I think we end up with good policy. So I really hope that we can move past this and keep the balance that we have in place, and then just move forward, because this has become way contentious. And whatever we do, I would ask that we also ask LAFCO to pursue, to see if it is legally possible to redesignate the appointments that are clarified, so that make sure that the peninsula always has representation, and the South County, the Valley always has representation. And that alternate could just be float amongst us. And that's what I would love to see, honestly.
Velazquez.
Yeah, thank you. And so I have a few comments to make, obviously. But I also have some information, and just to clarify in terms of the last 24 years and who has representation or not. Obviously, the Salinas, the Peninsula cities do have a seat at the table, and that's another item that we're gonna be discussing today. So there is a balance in terms of representation. But I do wanna just go back to reemphasize for this board, and obviously my interest in the nomination for the last school board, but you know, going back to review the committees, our committee rules and regulations, which I want our committee to consider. We do have that, and I think everybody had an opportunity to review the rules, but under section 8.1, and if we want to change it, I think as mayors, we can do that. But it does state, and you know, we went back in the January, that it does state in our rules that in January, this committee does conduct an annual review of all the committees with active and existing appointments with terms and serving at all of our, you know, our appointments do serve at the pleasure of the city select committee to be considered for changes. And that the considered shall be given for an automatic and regional rotations for alternate members being seated as primary members. So I just want to make sure that I read that, because I think it's important for us to know that that is within our rules and policies. And again, to state the fact that currently I have served as an alternate for this seat, and it has become contentious, and I agree with you, Mayor LeBarre, but I think the other thing that we forget, and I want to make sure this committee understands, is I have been sitting in that seat as an alternate since 2015, since 2021. And I came back to this board in 2022, or in 2023, and asked again to be a voting member. And this committee said no, and I get it, we voted for Mayor Craig, and that's good. I waited my turn, and I'm here again before you. But again, in our rules, in our committee, and if we want to change our rules and policies, then let's decide that that's what we're going to do. But it is within that. So we're being contentious, but we have language in there that does say, if we're going to follow that, then I'm the alternate member of that board right now. And if we're going to be true to that, then, you know, I should be in the seat as a primary now, seated as a primary member. So again, as I mentioned, I have been waiting my turn. And for me, I'll share with the mayors, and we all know that sometimes it's not enough just to have a voice at the table. I'm happy for that, but it's equally important to be able to have a vote at the same table. And as mayors, we know that this is really important. So our vote is not, it's not only our vote, it represents the people and the regions that we serve. And in the LAFCO letter that I think everybody read, and as Jonathan stated, it does encourage the vacancy to be filled fairly that represents the diversity of the cities and the counties with respect to population and geography. And I want to go back because I don't know if everybody has a copy of this, but I want to make sure that I review this to share with you. And I know there was a lot of comments about Salinas and Salinas having the opportunity not to change the politics. I don't know what politics people are talking about. I don't know, you know, what water wars people are talking about. I don't know what public interest people are talking about, what public water. I'll tell you, for me, I'm not here to represent public interest. I'm not here interested in people's other public interest agendas. I'm here to make sure that what LAFCO and its interest in terms of land use, that's what we're looking at in terms of what we're doing for Monterey County and the regions that we're supposed to be serving. And that's my interest. And if I look at this, and I had an opportunity to review for the last 24 years, and I'm looking at rural communities, especially our South Monterey County cities, have we really had a seat at the table? Let me share with you some data. We've only had rural communities, and this is for our South County cities. we've only had a seat at the table in the last 24 years 5 times. Salinas has had a seat at the table for the last 20 years. And let me just share with you, Soledad has had a seat at the table in the last 24 years only 1 time. That was in 2000. And then it took us 13 years again to have another seat at the table as part of the South County cities, and that was in 2013 when Mayor Maria Orozco held his seat for 4 years. For 4 years. And it wasn't until 2025, in 2025, our rural communities, so now it's 2025, and again, you know, we're looking at parity and we're looking at equality and we're looking at the diversity in terms of population and geography, then I want us to be real about what that means. Because if that really means about population and geography or rural communities, and I live in a rural community, I represent our rural communities, we haven't had a seat at the table. It hasn't been equal. And I just want to make sure that if we're looking also in terms of the population and representing Monterey County, you know, the commission right now, as it looks in terms of the LAFCO commission and its demographics, we don't have Latino representation. Our South County cities in the Salinas Valley, over 80% of our population is Latino. Monterey County, over 60% of the population is Latino, and we don't have someone sitting in that seat that represents that population. So if we're gonna talk about population diversity and that we represent and geography and that matters to us, then I think it's important for us to really take some time to really understand what that really means and what we really value. And I know as mayors, each one of you values the diversity and inclusivity that we have in Monterey County. And again, I just want to assure you that for me, it's not about, you know, it's not about agendas, it's not about the politics, it's about the people that we serve. And ensuring that we really bring representation and the representation that's needed to each board that we're assigned to. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Any other comments?
I'll respond back. Look, I really appreciate what you said, Anna. And you know that we considered you, right? But the 3 other South County cities felt that we are best represented by having Salinas in the seat. This is not a slight against you. But when you talk about diversity and equity and how we all represent the same communities that you do. Salinas, same type of population, same communities, same diversity. We all represent that. And so when 3 of the 4 South County city mayors have indicated that we believe who will represent us best on LAFCO, which makes important land use decisions, we did say Salinas. Other times we said other things. When Maria was in there, I would imagine every South County city supported that. But this gets to the point where if we don't have a voice, and if you get in because you have support from the Peninsula, then all of our voice just went away. No, let me finish speaking. I let you finish. But that is what is happening. We've had balance for so long. And that's what I want all the mayors to understand. 3 of us out of the 4 have asked it to be Salinas, to be the rep, to create that balance, because we feel that's going to protect our interests most, right? I have nothing against Anna. She's a great mayor, she does good work, and she represents her people well. We all have to represent our people as well, right? Every one of us are here because of our communities. So I'm just asking the mayors to consider that. I mean, because we've got put in this position where it's going to be the Peninsula against the Valley, which is so messed up. And yet, when we go to the next one, I'm going to 100% support whoever the Peninsula wants. Ian's been a great representative because I like the balance. I think that is where we are the strongest and why we get together so well. The most contentious issues, and this will be my last comment, have been on this seat after that vote a few years ago. That is the most contentious I've ever seen this body ever be. And that's frustrating to me because otherwise, the fact of the matter is the peninsula can run the gambit on a lot of these positions because you have 7 cities. We have 5. So the only way that we've been able to get to where we're at is because we've all understand what's fair and what's not fair. And I've always appreciated that. So that's all I'm going to say on this. Thank you.
This committee that we're part of today has a trend toward wanting rotation, to have everybody have a seat at the table, not to have a individual or a city in a seat for a long time. That's not where we're going with this committee. For the last few years, we discussed more and more that all 12 mayors need to have shots at opportunities. Anna's been an alternate for 4 years. Mayor LeBarre says she's a great mayor, she does great work. She's Latino. Apparently there's no Latinos on LAFCO, I don't know, is that true? The criteria, we're told by staff, is diversity of population and geography, South County, North County, Peninsula, Latino, Caucasian, African American, whatever, lots of different diversity. I'm sorry that Cal-Am has poisoned the politics of LAFCO that didn't used to be so strident in this political fight, but water is for fighting and Cal-Am brings it on. And so LAFCO has turned into a political football. We all know that. Fact is, what I'm hearing, Salinas has held this voting seat for 20 of the last 25 years. Anna City has held it once. And South County has held it 5 times. So if you're talking about the criteria of diversity of population geography, maybe the bylaws need to be changed to say that Salinas holds this LAFCO seat always. And that would respect that. That's what the bylaws would say. Right now, the bylaws say something very different. And our culture as a committee, wanting all 12 mayors to have a shot at opportunities, and we know that alternates who serve for a long time in a position are the likely folks that we would consider when a position is open. She has been that alternate. So I think everything fits, except for the politics that we've heard today of water, for Anna to be on this LAFCO commission. So I support her.
Any other comments? Anna, you wanted to say one more thing?
Yeah, I do, and this is my last comment. Look, I don't know why the South County mayors don't support me, and I don't know why I don't know what the politics is, because there's obviously politics behind that, Mike. And I struggled with it. I came in as my mayorship wanting to make sure that I worked with both the peninsula cities and South County, understanding that there was a big divide. Obviously, water is a big divide. Obviously, our demographics are different. Obviously, housing is a big issue. Obviously, the issues that we deal with, especially in our population, is very different. We have a lot of the workforce. We deal with our farm workers that, go up to the peninsula and work, and we want to make sure that housing is available for them. I came in and I wanted to make sure that I was working with both the peninsula mayors and the South County mayors to make sure that we were working in unison to address some of these issues. I did not anticipate when I came in that this, and especially in LAFCO, that this was going to be a board that was going to be this contentious, and that I wasn't going to get the support from South County for whatever reason, because that is where I come from, that is where I grew up, and that is who I am. But at the end of the day, for me, is how do we work together to be able to make sure that it's not about the peninsula, and that this whole concept that people have made up way before I was born about the lettuce curtain, that we stop that, and that we don't continue to
I gotta say one thing. It is never about politics with me. I don't play those games. I absolutely abhor political games. It's the one thing that pisses me off the most. And about supporting you, Anna, I'm the one who lined you up for chair for MST. I'm the one that put you in place for that because I had to make that decision. So don't tell me it's about us not supporting you. This is not about you. This is about what our cities feel, what is best for our cities on LAFCO. Don't take it as a slight against you. I have always been there for you, and I've always been by your side. I've always encouraged you and supported you. Any way I can, I have. This one, I have to say what I feel is best for our city, and our 3 cities have spoke up and said, we feel this is best. Please don't take this as a slight against you, because it's not. If you do take it that way, then that's on you.
All right, anyone else? Dennis? Yes. Okay. I'm still wrestling with the fact that Jeff Donohue called me the largest mayor. I'll try and get there. A couple of things. First of all, the rotation piece is not automatic. And I think there is, for lack of a better phrase, is spirit of the law, the letter of the law. So it's not automatic. That's number one. Number two, none of us here elected ourselves. And so if it's diversity in geography, then the simple fact by the sheer size of Salinas and its geography, the fact that I was elected, and I'm not a scorekeeper, though I was glad I could go to sleep the night of the election knowing I had won. And the reality is, it was a pretty clear mandate from the entire community. So to Mike's point, we do represent the diversity of our communities. And this is fundamentally about land use. And I appreciate the support of the other mayors. And so when the mayors made the decision they made, for which I appreciate, the reality is I think Salinas has historically had a good understanding. As I like to tell people, for instance, our economy is not in the city, it's in the valley. So on a de facto basis, we are always thinking about the entire valley. That just goes hand in hand with being the mayor of the Salinas. If the valley cities are not healthy, if our major industry is not healthy, that's a problem. And when that feeds into land use, Salinas, just because of its size and the nature of the things it's involved in, it does represent, I think, a good platform and a good perch to consider the overall interest of the valley and of course the peninsula. So if this is a business decision, I think Salinas can, to the satisfaction of the valley cities, should be comfortable with that Salinas will represent their interests well, and to the degree that there have been numerous elections reinforcing that, I think that's been comfortable. And I think, and I do agree with Mike's point. There's a letter of the law, but at the end of the day, Mayor Delgado, and I respect you and admire the work you do, if the valley mayors weigh in with, we've heard everything, and we think at this moment, Salinas can best serve the interests of the valley, then I think, just as we would respect what's on the mind of the peninsula mayors, you know, I would hope that would be regarded. And then the last thing I'll close with this. The change of the person sitting in the seat, and I understand the technicality, but the reality was, with all the things that were considered when Mayor Craig was elected, there was an assumption by this body and an understanding, and none of us knew what Mayor Craig was or wasn't going to do, was that Salinas would hold the seat until 2027. And there's a lot of important things going on that Salinas is concerned about, and we want to preserve the seat. And I think, you know, having served with Mayor Craig, I think, you know, I certainly think I represent general continuity with her thinking, and that was something you all were aware of when she was appointed to the seat before. So, you know, so I would just respectfully submit, based on the criteria that has generally been laid out, and the support of the Valley mayors, that I vote for me.
Great. Thank you very much. Let's take one more.
So when I first got elected as mayor and joined the Mayor Association and equally the City Selection Committee, and when we were going to vote on the LAFCO seat, as Mayor LeBarre brought up, it was a contentious vote. And it was essentially the same conversation that we're having today. And the argument that was used by those that opposed Anna, Mayor Velazquez, was wait your turn. And the idea was that there is a past practice that if there is a mayor that is serving in a seat on one of the appointments that we make through the City Selection Committee that wants to continue serving in that role, that we support them in continuing to serve in that capacity. And so the appointment of Mayor Craig did go till 2027, but that's also contingent on the fact that she continues serving as mayor, which is why we're having the conversation today. And so the fact that the seat is now vacated, and the argument that was used to not support Mayor Velazquez was to wait your turn. Well, it seems like she has. And I think that it's only fair for her to be able to step up on that, in that role, particularly as she's been serving on the LAFCO board now, albeit as the alternate. But she's caught up to speed. She's up to date in what's going on. And again, she's waited her turn. The arguments that were made by Mr. Donohue and Mr. Tilley, I think are examples of, you know, in as much as we might want to say get the politics out of it, this all has a factor in regards to the decisions that we're making. The implications of the decisions that are made on the LAFCO board are going to impact residents on the peninsula, but I would say across the county. And when the LAFCO majority voted and decided to insert politics into the eminent domain process, I think that's what really amplified this political conversation that we're having today. The fact of the matter is that LAFCO should have, and I hope will, moving forward in the future, vote to allow the Water Management District its latent powers to move forward with the eminent domain process in the courts, where this conversation should be had. The idea is to get the politics out of this. The residents on the peninsula voted in the majority to move forward with the buyout process, and that's exactly what's happening. I appreciate and acknowledge the Salinas Valley mayors and their support, their majority support for Mayor Donohue. The fact of the matter is that the reason why we're having this conversation is every single mayor in the county is voting on it. There are other appointments that we make that are restricted to just the peninsula or just the valley. And if that's the structure in which we want to have it set up, then I think we should have that conversation as it relates to our bylaws. But the fact of the matter is that we all have a vote to represent our cities. And again, for all the reasons that were stated earlier, I think Mayor Velazquez, her time is now served. I'll just say one last point, which is I think that when we do look at this kind of rotational conversation, it seems like the city of Salinas has been sitting in the seat for the majority of the last 25 years, but has absolutely been sitting in it for the last decade, and I think has had that, I would say, disproportionate in its favor advantage of serving in that role. And I think it's only fair for that rotation to occur, to allow Mayor Velazquez to serve.
Yeah, I just want, I think I'm gonna be kind of brief here. It's two things. I'm gonna support Anna, but I wanna go back to some things here. It was mentioned at this table that somehow if we don't, somehow the votes are not there to not put Anna there, Mayor Velazquez there and put Mayor Donohue there, somehow that's gonna be an automatic split between the mayors on the valley and the mayors on the peninsula. And for me, I'm concerned with that. I have a concern that somehow you only would support or like or appreciate me if I vote the way you want me to vote. And I have a concern that somehow we're going to denigrate to that. But I'm a big person, and if that's how we want the relationship to end up, that we're split here as mayors, then I guess we have to be split as mayors. And so I would just ask the mayors is, don't be led by your constituent, you're supposed to lead your constituent, right? And so people have vested interest in who may or may not sit on the LAFCO board. Politics shouldn't be in there. It wasn't up to me to whether I sit on LAFCO or not, to twist Mayor Craig's arm about what way she should vote. But for people that may not know, staff recommended that we approve latent powers for the water district. But somehow the majority of LAFCO voted against that. And so when you talk about where it goes back to some vote in the past, well, that was the vote in the past. And so that was a direct vote against what the mayors of the peninsula did. And I'm not saying we all agreed on that, but like Mayor Williamson said, the majority of the water district said that's what they wanted. And now we find ourselves here, right? I have had plenty of people come and try to pressure me to vote against expanding land use in the Salinas Valley. For Soledad, for Greenfield, all you guys have been coming through. We have had pressures not to do that. But that's not in the interest of all of us. And so I try to do what I think is right. And so, again, if we divide ourselves And my understanding is, this is only a 2-year appointment. And that seems like that would be the natural time to try to get some legislation done, to try to have it, a valley, divided up like we do the other ones, right?
Yeah.
And then we won't have this. But to say, that it shouldn't be done, it can't be done, if it's done, then we're no longer friends, it's the curtain again, and this, I don't buy that, I don't appreciate that. And I think that she can do a good job until changes are made by this group again. And then we can make permanent, and then, it goes the way you said before, which is the group that's most concerned, they can have direct control over one vote, and then the other group has direct control over one vote. And so that's where I come down at. It's just, it's kind of late to say, well, don't put politics in it when that's what started this ball down the hill.
I hope you didn't feel like anything I said suggested I thought that would create a split.
Yeah, that was you. But, no, what I'm saying, Mike, is, I said like that because me and you are good. Me and you are good, so that's not what you meant.
Yeah.
But I want to be clear, that's kind of like what I felt, because we have to be bigger, we have more problems than this thing.
No, yeah, no.
Right? And
Yeah,
so,
well,
I don't mean to
clear.
offend you, and so and that's the way I look at it, how do we move past this, even though we may not be getting what we want out of this?
No, and.
So I would support some type of legislation.
And I guess I'm glad you made that clear, because I did not mean that in one aspect. All I was asking was just for consideration of what some of the other South County cities felt. I don't consider it a split. I was trying to point out the fact that I felt that we've always worked very, very well and found ways to balance what we needed. The reference to the peninsula was that you actually had the votes if you ever wanted to exercise them, and you never do, which I thought was kind of actually unique, because you don't see that in other counties and other areas, especially here in California.
I would just quickly add that Mayor Oglesby just brought up another good point, which is makes it not just about water topic, which is this whole conversation around the annexation. So I won't go into in depth about that, but I've just raised that to say that it's not just about the water issue, albeit fair to say that it's probably the leading thing here.
All right, well, thank you, everyone. I think we've had a lot of discussion on the item. I think it's time to finish the discussion and let's move on. Let's make a motion one way or the other and take a vote. We're running really behind schedule at this point, so.
So we know we're gonna go through probably 2 votes, which I'll start it off. I do nominate for the position City of Salinas.
I'll second that.
Make a substitute motion to support Mayor Velazquez.
Second.
We have a substitute motion on the table, so we'll call a roll call vote. So this vote is for, whether the first vote is for Anna, be appointed, correct? Right? Okay, roll call vote.
Mayor Oglesby? Mayor White?
No.
Mayor Williamson?
Yes.
Mayor Donohue?
No.
Mayor Delgado?
Yes.
Mayor Donaldson?
No.
Mayor LeBarre?
No.
Mayor Carbone?
No.
Mayor Rios?
No.
Mayor Velazquez?
Yes.
Mayor Byrne?
No.
And Mayor Smith?
Yes.
Seven noes and 5 yeses.
All right, so now we take a vote. That did not pass. So now we take a vote on Mayor Donohue. Roll call vote, please.
Mayor Oglesby?
Aye.
Mayor White?
Aye.
Mayor Williamson?
No.
Mayor Donohue?
Yes.
Mayor Delgado? No. Mayor Donaldson?
Yes.
Mayor LeBarre?
Yes.
Mayor Carbone?
Yes.
Mayor Rios?
Yes.
Mayor Velazquez?
No.
Mayor Byrne?
Yes.
And Mayor Smith?
No.
That vote,
It passed.
that vote passed, all right.
What did it pass to? I want to change my vote to no.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8 yeses.
Ready? So it's yes?
Yes, 8 yeses
8 yeses.
and 4 noes.
Thank you very much. We'll now move on to item 4. Appoint one mayor or council member to such commissions, term ending May 7th, 2029. Regular mayor Ian Oglesby is currently appointed through May 7th, 2025. I will take public comments on item 4. Seeing none, I'll bring it back for discussion.
If Mayor Oglesby wants to continue, I would make that nomination.
I'll second that.
And would you mind if I added to, because I forgot to add it, the last one, if we direct LAFCO to maybe look at amending?
That should be separate.
You want to send that, can we add that on the next agenda item then? I mean, our next meeting? All right.
Well, can I?
Sure, go ahead.
The thing is, well, it's a lot, right, in the middle of this conversation.
Yeah.
But how do we make it official that ask? That's what we need to vote on, to make that ask official, to make it.
That's what I was trying to,
I don't know if you put it in with this.
can we do that as a mayor's association direction to us to do? Or we send that as a mayor's association letter to LAFCO?
Authorize the president to send them out.
Okay. And then we can just put that on the next meeting.
Yeah, whenever we get this.
All right, so it's just my clear motion that it's not all that bullshit.
Yeah, no.
All right.
All right.
It's been moved and seconded. We need a roll call vote, please.
Which topic are we on? I'm sorry, the letter?
We're talking about.
Oglesby? Yes. Okay. Mayor Oglesby?
Aye.
Mayor White?
Aye.
Mayor Williamson?
Yes.
Mayor Donohue?
Yes.
Mayor Delgado?
Yes.
Mayor Donaldson?
Yes.
Mayor LeBarre?
Yes.
Mayor Carbone?
Yes.
Mayor Rios?
Yes.
Mayor Velazquez? Mayor Byrne?
Yes.
And Mayor Smith?
Yes. Through the chair, I don't see a section on here for comments, but I do just want to throw out before we adjourn the city selection committee on 2 topics. One, which was an issue that was raised at the last meeting. We don't have any legal representation. There's no legal counsel, and I think we need to get that agendized. And my ask is that we have the city selection committee meet again in March so that we can figure that out before we start doing additional appointments. My understanding is that it probably should be the county, but I think leaving that conversation to an agendized item. And then I would also raise that I hope that we can also agendize the point that Wes made in regards to the recordings of our meetings. I mean, at the very least, audio recordings, we have to be able to stand for transparency. And so however we can do that in a way that allows the community at large to be more engaged in regards to the decisions that we're making here, I think is valuable to the people that we represent. So I'm hoping that we can agendize those 2 things.
Yeah, can I just add, because I know that Valerie sends it out to everyone, and just to ensure, I know that I'm really adamant that we post it as well in our city, that our city post it, so I know that's a requirement to making sure that all of the mayors are posting it, and that we're really trying to make sure that our community knows that these are open to them as well.
On the legal representation, do we want to maybe have our city managers meet together and discuss that? And
I think they're not the ones that make the decision. I think we need to make the call in regards to how we want to move forward with it. I would just ask that we agendize it so that we do it in a way that's not getting ourselves in the same situation that we did last time, and we talk about it in that setting. And if that's what the mayors decide, then I'd leave that there.
I don't disagree with that, I just know you're gonna have to pay for a county council to send an attorney here. Okay, and then, you're talking about recording the mayor's select meeting.
That's correct, not the mayor's association.
Right, And this is an unusual year, right? Now we're talking about another meeting, but I just want to make sure, just the selection. And I want to just begin with, if we all agree, clear direction to our president, association, to write a letter to whoever, LAFCO, whoever, to what is the ball rolling about the legislation to divide it up.
Okay.
All
Clear?
I agree.
All right. Very good. I will adjourn the city select committee meeting. Let's do it quick. Monterey County meeting.
Do we have lunch?
Have some lunch. Call the meeting to order. Lunch.
Chair, before you end it, I just want to make sure on the rotation that we're gonna go back to, if we're gonna ask LAFCO for the rotation, I want to make sure if we're gonna divide it, that it's not just, so we're dividing it, but it's based on also, because I want to make sure our South counties have representation, that it's not just Salinas, and I love Salinas. Mayor Donohue, please don't get me wrong, but I also want to make sure that our South County cities, our rural communities also, I think the rest of the mayors, you guys, your prerogative if you don't want to have a seat at the table, but I want to make sure my communities as South County and my city of Soledad, that my residents do have a seat at the table, so that it's not just Salinas, but we're saying South County, Salinas Valley, rural communities, Salinas, right? I want to make sure it's not just Salinas gonna have the seat at the table.
We can have that conversation.
Okay, so I just want to make sure what we're sending over.
We're just, I think we're opening it up for discussion.
Okay, got it. Okay,
All
thank
right.
you.
We're on old business. Let's do approval of the minutes from December 6th of 2024.
Motion to adjourn, second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? All right. Deanna, did you want to say anything?
I'm actually going to defer my report instead of cough through it, but I just wanted to say that I recommended that the city managers come back with a recommendation, not because they're the deciders, but because there is a city selection committee in every county of the state. So we can bring back to you what happens in other counties so that the chaos is not, does not continue and that it's not this way. And I don't necessarily know, just because the county wants us to pay a contract with them to advise their staff, doesn't, maybe that's not the direction you want to go, or maybe it is. But maybe we should go back and look at what happens in other areas. What is the recommendation? We're not really asking for legal advice, right? We're just asking for staff to, you know, read the agenda report when it's, you know, when questions come up, and to give advice on the Brown Act, which seems to happen everywhere else. So that was my recommendation, is that we bring back more information before a decision is made.
I think that makes sense.
Anyway.
I guess I'm missing the part where, what the added value is of the city managers. Maybe I'm missing that.
Well, I think that you're not asking for a lawyer to represent you in court. You're asking for the city selection committee to be run according to the law, right? And for staff to present the information in a way that allows you to make a decision. So if staff has the report, why don't they just read off the report, the same thing that LAFCO just read, which is, you know, what the LAFCO bylaws say about making this decision. So I'm just saying we can bring you information about how the city selection committee is run in every other county in the state, which seems to be a little bit smoother than how it's happening here.
Well, it's happening, it happened the way it happened because we took a vote that wasn't on the agenda. We all go to, so it's not a pushback against you, it's us talking. We all go to our meetings run by the Brown Act, right? And so we all know what we're doing, but we were trying to get our way, so we were battling with our conversation. I don't think we need an attorney, I don't think we need the city manager. I think we just need to adhere to the rules that we agreed to. And they've been working, but the contention was we were trying to get our way. And we have to just admit that. And so I would like more information, but I will admit that it seemed to be working fine until we come to the disagreements about how we're going to vote.
And we're in our Mayor's Association meeting right now, right?
Yeah.
Because we are being recorded.
Well,
I don't mind,
but we'll.
Sorry, I didn't mean to bring it up again, I'm just
No.
saying. Maybe we can help provide information on how to go.
And then to be clear, so I'm on record with you, Mike, is this is just the mayor's meeting, and I don't think we record this meeting.
I agree
So
too.
at our next meeting, we'll make sure that doesn't happen.
Right. Do we have an update from the county?
No.
Sure.
I don't think so.
All right. Let's go, item B, about the meeting schedule.
So is it correct?
We're gonna need to, was there an error?
No.
Oh, I was just gonna say, we're gonna need to decide what to do about July, because we conflict with the 4th of July every year.
Moving it or not?
Which city is it?
Del Rio.
Let's just cancel. I'm just kidding.
Just
kidding.
We could decide it later, or we could decide to move it to either the meeting, or the Friday before, or the Friday after, or this is something we can address later if you want. I know it's gonna, everybody's.
When is Sam City coming up?
You're next month, you're in March.
So Mayor Donaldson, do you want to cancel, or you want to meet the next month,
Well,
next week?
part of the issue is I'm gonna be out of town, the week after. So what we've got is the 4th of July weekend, and then, that next Friday, I'll be out of town. So we could do it the week before, in June, like the last Friday of June. Otherwise, you could have it without me. Or we move it to the 18th.
Scott, just leave a credit card.
Yeah.
What's the preference of the group?
I'm taking a blackout on July meetings, so I might not, I'm not sure I'll be around.
Cancel.
I agree with that.
Want to cancel?
I'm gonna ask him.
Scott, you okay with cancel?
Yeah, that would be fine. I mean,
Sidebar.
the other thing about the July meeting is usually pretty light.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if we cancel, I think that would be okay.
All right.
I appreciate Mayor Nick's sense of humor, but it is true that a lot of times the councils are dark in July, and so people tend to take their vacations.
Okay, so we're doing
We
this
have one.
first time.
Yeah.
We have one.
So it sounds like we're pretty much in agreement to go ahead and black out on July. Okay. So are we good with the agenda schedule? As amended?
What?
We good with it
Yes,
as
sir.
amended? All right. So,
Yay.
very good. All right, I think we'll dispense with the reports unless somebody has something really an emergency situation here. All right, well, thank you very much, everyone. Thanks for hanging in there. Meeting adjourned.